Everything about Sense and Sensibility looks pretty much perfect. But the actual shoot was a total mess behind the scenes. Faked auditions, actors passing out, animals going nuts, and the director straight up telling Emma Thompson on day one that she looked too old. Here are 20 things you didn't know about Sense and Sensibility, including the stuff they probably hoped you'd never ask about. Kate Winslet was only 19 at the time, and director Ang Lee thought she was all wrong for Marianne. He saw her more as Lucy Steele, a way smaller part. Winslet didn't buy it. Her agent gave her this idea: just walk in pretending there'd been a mix-up, act like she was always supposed to audition for Marianne. Their logic was pretty funny, actually. They figured the British producers would be way too polite to correct her. So that's exactly what she did. Marched straight into the audition, nailed it, and totally convinced Lee on the spot. Greg Wise, who ended up playing Willoughby, almost messed up his audition big time. He forgot he needed flowers for a key scene, so at the very last minute, he literally ran outside and grabbed a bunch of laurel leaves from a random planter. When his scene started, he smoothly whipped out this handful of leaves like a bouquet, totally sold it, impressed everyone. He later said he was so excited when he got the call that he'd landed the role, he didn't even realize he was standing ankle-deep in manure the entire time he was talking. Actually went straight off to meet Lee while still covered in muck. Real-life romantic comedy happened right on set between Emma Thompson and Greg Wise. Wise had this friend, a self-proclaimed psychic, who said Wise would meet his future partner filming Sense and Sensibility. But Emma Thompson was married then, so Wise figured the psychic meant Kate Winslet instead. He asked Winslet out, took her to Glastonbury Festival, and realized pretty fast they had zero chemistry. Winslet saw clearly what was going on. She noticed Wise's chemistry with Emma Thompson and bluntly told him Emma's marriage was basically over. Wise and Thompson got together soon after that, and they've been married ever since. That big emotional scene of Marianne crying in the rain almost sent Kate Winslet straight to the hospital. Lee was notoriously picky, demanding around 50 takes under freezing cold fake rain. Winslet eventually just collapsed from hypothermia, completely soaked and freezing. Soon as Lee yelled cut, Greg Wise ran over, grabbed her feet, shoved them right under his arms to warm her up, while Emma Thompson rubbed her hands and arms. Winslet later joked she had no idea at the time, but Thompson and Wise were basically flirting right above her nearly dead body. Emma Thompson almost lost the entire script for Sense and Sensibility because of a total computer crash. She hadn't backed anything up, had zero clue what to do, and went into total panic mode. Luckily, she called Stephen Fry, who's basically known for being super tech-savvy, and he spent an entire day fixing her messed-up files on her broken Apple Mac. Thompson said she was hyperventilating with gratitude for weeks afterward. She even gave Fry a special thank you shout-out in the credits for literally saving her screenplay. Filming Sense and Sensibility in the countryside sounds peaceful, right? Not exactly. Lee thought it'd be nice and authentic to have sheep wandering around everywhere. But turns out sheep don't really care about movie making. They'd randomly fall over, and the crew had to keep helping them back up. It drove Lee totally crazy. After one particularly bad sheep-related filming day, Lee just muttered in total frustration, "No more sheeps, never again sheeps." Emma Thompson thought it was hilarious. There's this small, fancy dog in the movie, owned by Harriet Walters' character, Fanny Dashwood. Problem was, the dog was incredibly nervous and kept staring directly at the camera. Totally ruined takes, so the crew's brilliant solution was to stand just off camera, waving slices of cake around to distract the dog. Walter stayed totally in character while the dog looked around, completely baffled. Lee's English wasn't exactly perfect yet, and he could be unintentionally brutal. Emma Thompson remembers that on her first day of filming, Lee watched one take and just flatly told her it was very dull. Then he told her something even worse. Don't look so old. Thompson was 36, playing a character in her early 20s, so she was mortified. Lee later explained he meant she was acting too mature and knowing, not youthful enough. But obviously it didn't feel great hearing that on day one. Alan Rickman, who played Colonel Brandon, also got completely confused by Lee's directing style. In one scene, Lee kept telling him less, then less again, trying to get Rickman to tone down his performance. Finally, trying not to discourage Rickman anymore, Lee switched tactics and said more. Rickman, totally confused at this point, stopped everything and asked, "More or less?" Lee was caught completely off guard and just blurted out, "Do more, less." It turned into a running joke on set, highlighting Lee's slightly confusing communication style. Back in Taiwan, Lee was used to directors being treated basically like gods. No questions, total obedience. So he was genuinely shocked when Emma Thompson and Hugh Grant politely questioned one of his camera setups during an important scene. Lee planned a distant long shot. They worried it wouldn't capture their facial expressions clearly enough. Lee later admitted he felt deeply hurt and confused by this, even offended that actors would question his decision. Producers had to step in and explain to him it was totally normal in England and Hollywood for actors to have input. To make the Dashwood sisters feel authentic, Lee had Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet actually live together during filming. They genuinely bonded, and it went further than Lee planned. Thompson soon realized that Winslet, only 19 at the time, was feeling pressure from Hollywood to lose weight. And Emma Thompson wasn't having it. She pulled Winslet aside, bluntly telling her, "Losing weight is absolutely wrong for the part, and absolutely wrong for you. Do you want to be a twig or a heart and soul that is true?" Thanks to Thompson's no-nonsense advice, Winslet dropped the dieting attempts right away. Filming Sense and Sensibility wasn't exactly a walk in the park for Kate. She didn't just have hypothermia from filming in the rain scene, she also got phlebitis, a really painful vein inflammation in her leg that caused her to limp around the set. And as if that wasn't enough, she also slipped on some stairs and sprained her wrist. Winslet joked afterward she probably deserved hazard pay for all that. One day the cast is filming at Saltram House. That's the location they used for Norland Park. And a random tourist walks by, spots Alan Rickman in his costume, and immediately blurts out, "Oh look, there's Tom Cruise." It gets better. The same person then sees Emma Thompson and confidently announces she's Sharon Stone. Crew obviously found this hilarious. Two of the greatest British actors being confused for Hollywood A-listers who literally look nothing like them. Lee brought something totally unexpected to this very British Jane Austen film, Tai Chi. Yep, he actually got Emma Thompson doing Tai Chi sessions to clear her mind, especially since she was also busy writing the script. Pretty soon, other cast members started joining in, and it became this daily thing. Actors in period costumes doing breathing exercises and meditations at Lee's request. Definitely an odd sight on an Austen set, but it worked. The actors bonded and actually focused better. Robert Hardy, who played Sir John Middleton, was apparently just as charming off camera as he was on. There's a scene where Sir John entertains Margaret Dashwood with an atlas, and the script didn't have much dialogue. But Hardy went completely off-book, improvised an entire whimsical little story about the map, just to keep young actress Emily Francois engaged. It was so good. The moment Lee yelled cut, the entire crew broke out in applause. Watch the London scenes carefully, you'll spot an unusual cameo, a maid played by the film's own producer, Lindsay Doran. Basically, she volunteered to dress up as a maid for fun, or maybe because they were short an extra, and begged Emma Thompson not to give her any lines. Lee took character preparation seriously, like seriously. He literally gave his actors written homework, actual questionnaires, and character study assignments. So instead of just sitting down for a casual table read, Lee made his actors sit down like students, writing detailed backstories for their roles. Cast got really into it, actually turned it into a creativity competition. The winner? Imogen Stubbs, who played Lucy Steele, wrote this hilarious letter in Lucy's voice to Eleanor Dashwood, set years after the story, with Lucy married to Eleanor's brother, still bragging and gossiping away exactly like Lucy would. Thompson loved it so much, she gave Stubbs an actual prize for best homework assignment. Kate Winslet's first day on set wasn't exactly confidence-boosting. At the end of the shooting, Lee barely said a word to her. So Winslet finally worked up the nerve to ask him if she'd done all right. Lee just gently patted her shoulder and quietly told her, "You'll get better." Winslet walked away horrified, thinking she'd been so bad they were probably going to fire her on the spot. Of course, Lee was just trying to reassure her she'd get more comfortable over time. Emma Thompson started writing the screenplay back in the late 80s, and she wrote Edward Ferrars specifically with Hugh Grant in mind. They were friends, and she just knew he'd nail Edward's dry charm and awkwardness perfectly. But by the time filming finally started, Grant had blown up into a massive star thanks to 4 weddings and a funeral. Thompson was actually worried he'd be too busy or expensive for their little Austen movie, but Grant stuck with the project anyway, despite being the most famous man in the world all of a sudden. When Emma Thompson was adapting Austen's novel, she actually considered adding in some really dramatic scenes Austen herself only hinted at, like Colonel Brandon dueling Willoughby over the younger woman Willoughby wronged. She even wrote an entire duel scene, plus a big confrontation where Willoughby returns during Marianne's illness, desperately trying to apologize. They actually planned these scenes out, but eventually decided not to use them. Thompson felt that actually seeing the duel took away from the story's mystery, and Willoughby's return would have distracted from Marianne finally choosing Brandon.